All right. Hello. Welcome to the Charlie Greer Podcast, episode number 2. Today I'm going to talk about, and I'm sorry about the lighting situation. I actually forgot to turn on my light. Cuckoo. Oh, well. Um, I'm talking about getting typhus. I got typhus in, it was July of 2013. I think it was July. I'd never heard of typhus. So moving on, we'll just jump on into it. So, how I got it is supposedly, I mean, we don't really know, or they don't really know, but I was walking my dog and there was like stray cats in the neighborhood. I lived in Pasadena at the time, and I would pet this kind of old cat, and its owner had passed away and they just threw it outside. So we'd give him food and stuff, and he lived kind of like on the porch. So when I would walk by with my dog, I would sit there and pet him. So I guess after when I pet the cat, a flea jumped off the cat and bit me and gave me typhus. I didn't know. I didn't even feel the flea bite. I didn't, you know. Um, and then days after that, it was bad. My stomach, I wasn't feeling right, and I started turning kind of like gray. Like my neighbors see me walk by, like, dude, you don't look too good. So the day by I think the 6th or 7th day, I thought I just had like a bad stomach flu. My neighbor's like, look, I'm going to check on you in the morning and see how you're doing. He was this older guy. And thank God he did, because he found me, and it was bad. They called the ambulance, and I was basically bleeding out. I mean, it was rough. Uh, and I remember coming to, and I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was being stung by bees or something. I'm like, I'm on a stretcher, and I'm like, again, I didn't, crazy. Um, so I'm in the ambulance, and I'm kind of like in and out. So I'm feeling like it feels like bee stings on my arm. And I come to, and this, bless her heart, man, this nurse, um, or ambulance person was like, just lay back, chill. Then I heard that's my dog. And another thing, you're going to hear dogs barking and neighbors coming by, and so that's kind of like my theme song is going to be dogs barking and neighbors interrupting me. So there's nothing really I could do. My neighbors are asking, can you give me a ride? Can I borrow $20? It's all good, right? And my dogs, they'll be barking. So I'm laying in the ambulance, and I hear that, like, the driver, the guy up front, he's like, nobody's dying in my ambulance. And I look at the lady, and I'm like, who's dying? Like, I didn't get it. And she's like, just lay back. She was like rubbing my head, and I thought, damn, it's me. Again, I'd never been in an ambulance. I'd never been in the hospital. I mean, I'd been sick, but I'd never had anything. And they had all this stuff hooked up to me, even in the ambulance. I lifted my arm up, and it was just like, oh, it was horrible. I mean, my veins were collapsed. I was all gray. But yeah, nobody's dying in my ambulance. We can't take him. I forgot what hospital they're going to take me to, but good thing they took me to Huntington. He's like, nobody's dying in my ambulance. We're taking him to Huntington. We're saving him. Got me to Huntington Hospital, which is a great hospital. If you're ever around Pasadena, if you got to go to the hospital, go to Huntington. Believe me. I get there, and they just start working on me, and it was rough. I was in the infectious unit ward, or whatever they call it. Like, it's a room within a room. There's a first room where they come in and put on like the little paper plastic suits, and then come and and I had every kind of R2D2 unit hooked up, like messed up. It was bad. And I was like fighting for my life. They had to, I had like what do they call it? Like, well, I had like 3 heart attacks during that process, because I was in there for 10 days or 14 days. And cardiac arrest. That's it. But because by the time I got out, my ribs were still broken and bruised. My upper half was just like blue and black and brown and green, like all bruised up. But laying there, and what typhus did, like, I got atrophy. Like, my leg, I had to learn to walk again. They had these like things on my legs rolling up and down, so I wouldn't like get a clot or whatever. And by the time I was, getting released, or I actually wanted to get out. I couldn't stay. They were telling me like I mean, I've learned a lot about, the power of the mind, because I had like 4 or 5 doctors, and they're telling me, especially the day I left, because I had to leave on crutches. I could barely walk. They're like, they gave me like 5 years to live. I was like, what? Because the first doctor came in and I was on the bed, get my stuff ready. And he's like, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do with the rest of your life? And I was like, I'm just going to live my life, man. I'm going to get over this. He's like, no, you don't understand. Like, you've got like 5 years to live. You need to go live your life. You need to go do whatever you're going to do. And I was like, 5 years to live? No. He's like, man, this has messed you up. You got to walk again. My eyesight was bad because something happened with my eyes. And I was prescribed all kinds of, I didn't want to get into it. But I got out. I couldn't walk. I mean, I could kind of stumble around on crutches. My legs looked like elephant legs. It was horrible, man. It messed me up. What the typhus did, it lacerated my guts, like inside my stomach. They had to go through my mouth, but it's horrible. So that was 9 years ago. So they gave me 5 years to live 9 years ago. And I did come back. I'm not like I used to be. I'm older too, but I actually walk different since I had to learn to walk again. I totally walk different. My eyesight's kind of messed up, and I've got this and that and the other thing. I can't eat like I used to, and I've got to stay healthy. Matter of fact, I try to walk every day in the park. I try to, keep as healthy as I can. I shouldn't be smoking. Matter of fact, I quit smoking for 11 years. And I started smoking again, actually, after I got typhus. Like I quit for 11 years, and it was tough to quit, believe you me. But sitting around, not doing anything. And also, I lost my business. I was teaching vocal lessons, singing lessons, doing a little bit of studio work here and there, just enough to get by. It wasn't like I was like, but I had about 20, 25 clients, people coming and going, working with a few bands. And no one really knew what was going on. As far as like, where'd he go? Like, people were, coming to my place and missing the lesson. I'm just not there. So they kind of thought I flaked. So I got out. I did a mass email. And unfortunately, I never recovered as far as like my business side. Like, I lost all my clients. Nobody wants to, I looked horrible, man. I looked like Frankenstein's monster, dude. And to this day, it's messed with me. And so a couple years of, I had to learn how to walk. When you first learn how to walk, you kind of like do this stumble, kind of baby, and if you turn your head either way, you're probably going to fall that way. And I have a dog, like I have to walk my dog, so I had a little patio, so I'd I had this, I made it like, it was a chicken coop kind of thing, like, a fence, little chicken wire fence that I put her in. And I just got through it. And then lucky for me, once I did just kind of get around, I, got my ads back up. Hey, I'm teaching again. My first new client was a doctor. And even though he was a plastic surgeon, he was still a doctor. He knew enough. And I didn't say anything, but when he walked up and I met him, he was like, dude, what have you been through? He knew, like, something, you've been through a traumatic, I was like, yeah, I had typhus. And I was not the only one that got typhus. In that area in Pasadena, a few other people got it too. And when I got in touch with or they contacted me, the infectious disease, whatever, and kept track of me for about a month. And I asked them, like, why isn't this on the news? Why aren't people? Because when I was in the hospital in Huntington, there was a guy that had West Nile disease, or West Nile virus. And he got it from the Arboretum. And the Arboretum is kind of like this cool kind of like garden, kind of swampy area in Pasadena. They shoot a lot of movies there, Fantasy Island, Creature from the Black Lagoon. They shoot a lot there. And you can go and walk the gardens, and there's peacocks and stuff, but there's West Nile, I guess. And he died. Another thing that's kind of crazy and unfortunate is they had a betting pool when I was there. I guess they bet on who's going to live, who's going to die. And since I was so messed up, it was like easy money. This dude ain't going to make it, And when I came to and I started recovering, these nurses like scolded me. Like, you lost me money. Yeah, and I was like, what? I didn't know. And then the other nurse like, yeah, they have a betting pool. They're. So I made a complaint. I was like, I want to talk to somebody. This is not betting on my life. I mean, I kind of get, so they had to come and apologize. I'm sorry, but they didn't get fired because somehow they were independent contractors and there's a loophole or whatever. And I didn't want anybody to get fired, but it's like, man, you're betting on my life. Like, you got a poll, like paper, all the, no, that's uncool. But yeah, they gave me 5 years to live 9 years ago. Like, you're not going to make 5 years. You just go out and, the one doctor was like, yeah, just go party, man. Move to Vegas, sleep with as many women as you want. I mean, you're not going to, enjoy your life. You ain't going to. And some of them were like, you're not going to walk again. You think, but again, faith and the power of your mind. Like, I wasn't going to I was like, I'm going to, no, this isn't. And you think this thing, I mean, the way I think is this kind of stuff happens to other people. I've never, this is something you hear about. Like, oh, did you hear about so-and-so? He got typhus. Like, it does happen. It happened to me. And it definitely changed my life. I got closer with my faith. I mean, again, I'll get into more details on this later on when I'm doing my pod. I'll do an episode of like what I actually went through. But yeah, it was tough. And when I got out of the hospital, I didn't have any, I was teaching from home. So I didn't have any income. But lucky for me, I mean, I couldn't drive. So I had a car, sold my car. At the time, I had some really good, custom shop Gibson Les Pauls. I made a lot of guitars. So I ended up selling everything just to get by, just to pay my rent, keep the lights on. And brutal. To this day, when I walk, I'm in pain. My feet look horrible, man. I mean, but considering that I should have been dead. What do they say? Like 5. So I got 4 years on them. Should have been 5 years. It's been 9 years. And then they, when I was they thought I was going to die. They contacted my mother, and we're kind of, honest about, like, look, he's going to die. You need to, prepare. And we recommend that he gets cremated because he's got some. I don't know if they'd known I got typhus because it took them a while to figure out what I had, and they pumped me with every kind of medicine. And then about 2 months ago, because they've been keeping track of me, and before I left Los Angeles, I was still going to doctor's visits. I had been, honestly, I kind of stopped it for a while because there's just so much you can do. And so they got a hold of my mother again and said, well, now he's got 3 years to live. So it's like, what? Huh? So, okay, 5, then I made it 9. So now they're saying I've only got 3 more, it's going to happen. He's going to drop dead. Whatever. I mean, again, I'm not doubting the doctors, but it's my faith, thoughts become things. You have to be positive, especially when people are going, you're going to die in 5 years. I mean, that's kind of, that's cryptic. Again, I thought this stuff happened to other people. I never thought I'd be, had to go through everything I had to. They had me a PICC line. I don't know if you guys know, it's underneath your arm. It goes straight into it. It's horrible. Surgeries. But all considering, man, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I got through it. So if anyone out there, if you ever find yourself dying in the hospital, take a page from my book. Seriously, you have to, again, you want to listen to the doctors, but you also, when you're in that much pain and you can't move and you're in like a laying there, all you have is your mind. All you have is your thoughts. All you have is your faith. So you can either kind of give up. There was this point where like, man, I can't do this. Like, it's so much pain. Like you're laying, you're kind of like split personality. It's hard to explain. But if you ever find yourself in that situation, you've got to rely on your faith, your mind. Thoughts become things. Stay positive. Know you can work this out, one day at a time. I wouldn't, again, maybe it's because I'm hard headed or I'm just stupid, right? I would not listen when those doctors was, I was like, yeah. Okay, whatever, all right, what, fine, fine. Um, and I did had to augment my life. I can't eat certain things. Like I eat, I'll just, I'll be on what I eat. When I get up in the morning, um, I have either beef broth or chicken broth and peanuts, like a little bit of soup, and I mean, just to get my stomach, and then I usually make beans. I like eat beans, potatoes. Like I cook like healthy meals, and then I'll cheat a bit. I can go get Chinese food, but I can't eat fast food, man. Like I can't, whatever they are, whatever it is, I can't. It'll just burn me up. Another thing I've had to do is baking soda and water. Um, is my stomach, and what that is, you want to use a little bit of baking soda, some hot water. And what that's doing is it's turning those acids into a gas. All those acids in your stomach, drink that baking soda, you'll belch it out. It's like chemistry. You're turning that acid into a gas, belch it out. I've also heard it like, does other kind of stuff. Anyway, it helps me. And sometimes I have to do it like multiple times a day. If I'm kind of iffy about like right now, anything kind of, like I can't eat even like fruits, like an orange would rock my world, even bananas, green peppers, like fresh stuff, and stuff I used to always eat. I had to switch gears. Now I eat beans and rice, and I'm basically macrobiotic. You guys can look into what that is. But if you do find yourself in a conundrum of pain and suffering, take a page out of my book and just be positive, man. Even if because they talk about you. I don't know if you've ever been laying dying in a hospital, but they talk like right before you're laying there. And a lot of times I couldn't respond, but they're just like, oh yeah, or they were like, look how swollen his legs are, and push and like leave like an indentation with their finger and kind of ha. Like, if they think you're going to die, I don't know. But they will talk openly, honestly around you. And so be prepared for that too. And they're going to be, oh no, see, I'm the doc. Who's the doctor? Right. I would argue with them, but I'm like, dude, yeah, this is happening to me, but I'm not, dude, that ain't going to be me. I'm walking out of here. Matter of fact, they're like, oh, you're going to be bedridden. You're going to this, that. You've got atrophy. So as soon as they unplug me from all that main stuff, I still had like a few things I was plugged into. I was like, look, I got to try to walk. And at first they put me like in this like chair, and I had a nurse like pull my stuff, and I went around the hallways and I just kind of like used my leg, trying to just go. Then I did that for a couple of days, and I moved to like a walker, but it was like more deluxe walker, and I think they had me strapped in or something. Then I finally got to a regular walker, and then I moved to like crutches, but and it was brutal, man. I can't tell you how much pain, like it just, yeah, it was tough. It actually, it's kind of hard to talk about, but the again, the mind, power of the mind. Keep yourself positive. And yeah, there was, oh no, you're not going to work. You're going to have to be in bedridden, this, that, and the other. We're going to help you with your disability because you're not going to be able to do anything. And so they had like I don't even know, social worker come, and I did fill up, but I'm like, man, I don't want to be on disability. I mean, I still consider myself, relatively like a young dude, and I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't go through it. Matter of fact, I could probably get on it now, but I'm not gonna do. I would rather work. I'd rather stay. Who wants to sit around and just like because for one, it ain't that much money. Believe me, man, they're going to give you shit. I mean, they're going to give you what? Not a lot. Not a lot. So yeah, I had to cut down on certain things, but then I started smoking again. I mean, I had to have something. I'd quit for 11 years. It's like, you know what? I got to have a smoke. I got my, and also I wouldn't take their dope, their drugs. Like they wanted to give me everything. They're like, hey, we can't believe you're turning this down. but it's like, man, I don't want to get hooked on some kind of hard drugs, you know. Believe it or not, yeah, because I kind of have a bad reputation. I've never been that much of a druggie. I mean, we've all, this, that, and the other, but I was more like boozing and smoking herb. I don't want to be around a bunch of drugs. I don't want to be um, addicted or dependent on some kind of pharmaceutical. I use Kratom. Kratom, thank goodness for Kratom. It helped a lot. It's like a cure-all. Like, thank you that I found Kratom. And I just happened to stumble because I'd heard of it. Like, oh, isn't that for people trying to get off, withdrawing from hardcore or whatever? And I was in the convenience store, like the smoke shop, and buying cigarettes. And I saw this woman, and she was dressed nice, and she was like, yeah, buying this like huge bottle of Kratom. And I was like, wow, Kratom, yeah, I've heard about that. And I was like, excuse me, do you mind if I ask you why you're, I've heard of Kratom. She's like, yeah, I got in a car wreck. And I was, at first they were giving me like whatever it was, hard drugs for pain. And so she got on Kratom. She's like, look, yeah. And I go, well, I so this, that, and the other. She's like, try some. And the guy's like, yeah, I'll help you out. Here's a discount bottle, blah, blah. And I did. And thank God, because it really did work. And then once I was off it was like no big deal. Like the next day, I didn't feel any kind of like, I need help. None of that. It was just like, oh, well, there you go. But the moral of the story is you got to stay positive. You never know. You think, oh, no, that's not going to happen. That never happened. I know. And I still kind of have my, like, how in the hell, like, I flee. Because I'd never heard of typhus. Matter of fact, they didn't explain it to me. And basically, it's kind of like a plague. And also the people I think a guy that worked at the Gold's Gym, there was like 5 or 6 of us within this kind of mile area or a couple mile area that got typhus. And the one guy, this was when I was talking to the infectious disease people, and they were talking about having spikes. There's got to be so many spikes before we tell the public. And from what I saw, that guy was in a wheelchair. Like, he was muscular. He was a fit guy, whatever. When I saw him after that, I don't know if he ever walked again. I don't know. But so I was like, why won't, this should be on the news. This should be like, hey, like, well, there's not enough spikes, they told me. And I'm like, how did this happen? And this is what she said. I don't know if this is true or not, but in 2012, I think it was, LA County was hurting for money or whatever, and they lost the funding because they spray for stuff. They spray for typhus, West Nile virus, who knows what. And that year they skipped it or didn't do it because for the funding. And sure enough, the next year, boom, 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 people are getting, I got it, from a flea from a cat, supposedly. And they don't tell you, like, like down in downtown LA, there's like a flesh-eating virus going around down there where a lot of the homeless are, and there's not a cure. And I've also heard around LAX, the airport in Los Angeles, there's been some kind of strange stuff popping up here and there. I guess from people coming and going, and this, I don't know, but I know that if you if you ever do get typhus, it's going to be tough. It's going to get you. It's going to, I'm lucky to be alive, and I'm lucky that I made it 9 years. So supposedly they say I got another 3 years. Well, he's got about 3. We made it. We get our estimation. We kind of, and I wish they wouldn't have done that. I wish they wouldn't have said anything. Like, because that's always in the back of your mind. Like, I've only got 5 years. And that first thing I kind of thought, because I felt so bad, and looking at my legs, and I mean, my feet were so swollen after I got to the hospital. There was not a shoe that would fit them. I mean, it was horrible. I had to buy these big shoes. I couldn't tie them. Oh my God. It was, and embarrassing. Like, you just, it took me a good couple years just to feel slightly normal, walking, not falling, and, and losing my clients. Like, I never saw majority of them, maybe like 90% of them never came back. I sent out a mass email. These are people that we're working with for a long time. And a lot, we got to know each other. After the lesson, let me take you to lunch. They buy me lunch or I buy them lunch. And, you get to know people. And so when I did a mass email, when I got out of the hospital, like, hey, this is what's going on, I didn't hear from a lot of people. So I was like individually email, like, hey, I don't know if you got this mass email, but this, that. They're like, oh yeah, we got it. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Like, no, how you doing? Let me bring you some ramen. Nothing. And I know how people are. And you realize that it's just like, okay, they were friendly because I was doing something for them. They were a client of mine. Now that I have the plague, they don't want to be around. I mean, I get it. I probably wouldn't. I mean, I don't know. But I survived. And I know there's many people out there that have had certain things happen to them or diagnosed, whatever, and you're given some kind of you're gonna see 5 years, get your life out, do something. Hang in there. Hang in there. Work on your spirituality, your faith, whatever you got to do. Be positive, meditation, prayer, whatever you got to do. Hang in there. Eat right. Because actually, I'm in pretty good shape considering. Last time I went to the doctor, like, yeah, you're not overweight. It is that, yeah. I mean, everything. It messed with my hands. I mean, I didn't have to relearn to play guitar, but I was shocked when I started playing. After I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want anybody seeing me. I don't want anybody. And then a few people that I jammed with, they were like, hey, what's going on? And I was like, I tried to tell them, like, yeah, man, the typhus messed up my hands. But now, you just keep on going, you get it. I'm better than I ever was. So more of the story is hang in there. Don't give up. Please don't give up. You got to, fight. And stay away from cats with typhus fleas. But I guess there's 3 kinds of typhus, like one from a rat, one from a cat, and one from I don't even know. And I'm glad they didn't tell me what it was, because I didn't know. So when and they weren't telling me, so when I got out of the hospital, the first thing I did, Google typhus, and like, the plague, what? Wiped out Ireland back in the day. Like, are you kidding me? I might have given up that if I would have known how just badass it was. I might have went like, oh, well, I got, it's kind of like the doctors were almost, when you're laying there, and I know doctors, thank God that they saved me. And I had some really good doctors. But they, you just gotta, again, I'm glad I didn't know about it. And I'm hard-headed, just like, you ain't gonna tell me. And I got through it. But to this day, these 9 years, it's different. I've had to change my life. My friends that I'm around, I got to watch what I eat. No hot sauces, no Taco Bell, none of that. And I was a foodie. I love to cook, and I had to be careful what I can do. Like, if I make this past week, on Saturday, I made fresh guacamole. I made fresh chips. I mean, cutting the corn tortillas, frying them up, and I made tacos. It was good, but it was kind of, I didn't put a lot of they were just kind of plain. But for me, it's like, hey, awesome. So if you want to support the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, in the description, there is a link or a contact where you can support the channel through Zelle. And right now, this is what I'm doing. I'm starting my podcast. I'm doing this every day. So yeah, I appreciate all the support I can get. There will be guests. I will have different cameras and lighting. I'm sorry, I forgot about the lighting. I look like haggard, man. This is dark, and I know how I know how it looks. But so anyway, guys, be blessed. Thank you so much. Again, if you want to support the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Go into the description. Support it through Zelle. And I love y'all, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.